Welcome back to His and Hers Movie Podcast. This is episode number 32, featuring a review of the brand new X-Men horror film, The New Mutants. I am one half of your hosting duo, podcasting on this August 30th, 2020, out of southwestern Pennsylvania, JP, and joining me tonight, as always, or today actually, is my co-host podcasting out of Beeville, PA, Carly. What's up?
What is up, buddy? Not much is up. I honestly, we're recording right now, it's 2 p.m. and I slept in till noon, so I have done pretty much nothing today.
Wow.
Which I hate when I do that.
I woke up at, I think, 7 p.m. yesterday, and I've been up since.
Buddy.
Yeah, so it's 2:15 p.m. now. Of course, I'm still working these night shifts. I have a day shift tomorrow, and then I have a day shift into a night shift, a 16-hour shift on Tuesday, and then another night shift on Wednesday, and then another night shift on Thursday. And then we will be off to the races to our event after that. But first, before we even get into all that, I do want to make an announcement. So those of you who have, followed our podcasts for a while, whether it's 22 Shots or Carly's shows or this show, know that we're proud members of the Horrorphilia network. And I have been with Horrorphilia since, I think, 2015. So 5 years, I think. I'm pretty sure. And it's actually coming to an end, which is very sad to me. It's public knowledge now, but I think not a lot of podcasts, like we haven't talked about it on 22 Shots or anything. And, it's unfortunate. Jason Lloyd, the owner and creator and runner of Horrorphilia, is kind of it was around for, I think, 5 years before I got on, so it's been around forever. And I think he is kind of just feeling like hanging it up for now. Tried to talk him out of it a little bit, but I'm not going to be too much pressure on him. So Horrorphilia will be no more in the new year. So 2021 will mark the end of Horrorphilia. I do believe Horrorphilia as a website will still exist, but it will no longer be a podcasting network. So that's really unfortunate. I've met a lot of great people through Horrorphilia, and I've also, am thankful for the exposure that it got us during the time when we were still young with 22 Shots. Definitely maybe doubled our listenership within the first year, partially due to just us growing, but I think Horrorphilia also gave us a little bit of a rub. So it's time to say goodbye, and we would like to officially announce this show and Netflix and Chill, which is actually going to be renamed Shudder and Chill, which we'll still do that every once in a while. It's not going to be like weekly or monthly or anything, but whenever we have the time, if we both worked the same schedule, we would do probably one a week or every other week, but the work schedule has definitely changed that. But both of that show and this show will be joining the Dark Discussions podcasting network. Dark Discussions podcast has been around forever. I think it predates. I'm almost certain that it predates 22 Shots. But that was just a podcast. But the guy behind Dark Discussions, Philip, he is launching a network, which I believe is live currently. I think there's a couple, pretty much, honestly, a lot, like I would say 80% of all Horrorphilia shows are going over there, so that's pretty cool. And it was really awesome of Phil to give us a home, and he seems really excited about it. So we will be on Dark Discussions with either this episode or the next one. I'll probably still send this to Jason just so you guys can hear it as well, but I think the way that it works is we will have a new podcast feed. So if you are subscribed through iTunes or some podcast app, I'm pretty sure that you'll need to find a new link. You'll need to subscribe to a new feed, basically. So that was a nightmare with 22 Shots when we did that, because we had a pretty decent feed and following and ratings and stuff on iTunes and all that, which I know isn't as big as it used to be with iTunes, because now you got Spotify and Stitcher and everything else. iTunes isn't the only place you get podcasts like it was back in 2013. So it's probably not going to be as devastating, but just anybody that's listening out there, know that you may have to resubscribe to the show. So I will still put this one and probably the next one on Horrorphilia as well. But after that, we will probably be exclusive to our YouTube channel and the Dark Discussions podcast network. So make sure that you guys keep up and check that out, and make sure you guys transition over there. We don't have any plans of stopping anytime soon, so we'll still be doing stuff. I feel like we're just getting into the groove on this show. We're less than a year old. 22 Shots, on the other hand, we don't know what we're doing yet. So if you're a listener of that show, there's some discussions that me and Jeremy and Moods and Dave need to have to decide what we're going to do and where we're going to go. We have the possibility of going independent like we were when we started. There's also a possibility that we also join the Dark Discussions network. It just really comes down to what the guys kind of want to do. So that is a little update on 22 Shots, since we're not doing shows right now. You have any thoughts or opinions or comments on the new network that we're going to be joining?
Just, thank you to Mr. Phillip for letting us join it. It is live now because Celluloid Dissections, the show I do with Derek, is now on there, and I clicked on it briefly, and everything looks really good. Looks very similar to the Horrorphilia setup, and Phil was very nice. I just because I asked him to get movie versus movie that I do with Austin on there as well, and he replied back like a millisecond later being like, yeah, you're in. And then he told me everything to do, and it was very easy. So big thank you to him for making this transition as simple as can be, and opening his home up to us, because when they announced, or when Jason said he was gonna shut down Horrorphilia or not do it anymore, that was kind of scary, having to worry about getting all the shows wherever you're gonna get them. So I think that was very nice of Phil. So
yeah, super cool. I'm very happy that that's a actual opportunity. There are a few other podcasting networks out there that I know of, but I'm not, I don't really have relationships with some of the other networks. And I really didn't with Phil. I knew of him, and I knew that, I knew about Dark Discussions, and I know it's a very popular show and stuff like that. So, but yeah, he kind of posted in Horrorphilia and just, let everybody know that he's willing to take some shows. So that's pretty cool. Do you know the website name, actually?
Oh, crap. I do not. I assume it's Dark Discussions something. Like I said, he did put up Celluloid Dissection, so there was a link. But wait, let me see. Maybe Derek had sent it to me.
All right,
Allow me to see.
You're doing that. So yeah, I mean,
it's darkdiscussions.com. So
yeah. I tried to go there just now, and it wasn't it was like down or something, so I thought maybe he made a new URL or something, like Dark Discussions Podcast Network or something, but not sure as of right now, but we'll get a link for definitely on the next show. We'll try to get one on this one in the description as well. So yeah, that's where we'll be. I think I don't think the back catalog will be up right away. I think we'll slowly put those up, so if anybody's trying to go back, you could always find us still on YouTube and still horrorphilia till the end of the year. So yeah, but with that said, I'm very excited for the new chapter with his and hers, and even Shudder and Chill. I really, the thing about, if anybody's wondering, the thing about Netflix and Chill, the reason I named it that was because, Netflix and Chill Horror Podcast, I just figured Netflix was a very searchable term, and I just thought like, okay, I'm just going to make it as basic as possible. But when we started realizing that we mostly reviewed Shudder films, and we would still do, like, even as Shudder and Chill, we'll still do like Netflix and Hulu and anything, Amazon Prime, whatever new is streaming, but it's funny, but we did mostly Shudder movies, so it made sense to call it Shudder and Chill, and Shudder's more of like a horror thing too, so it just made sense, and the name always kind of bugged me a little bit, so we're kind of relaunching. We're just gonna start with a brand new episode 1. You can still find all the old Netflix and Chill episodes on I think they're on your YouTube channel.
Well, I'm slowly trying to upload them, but I'll try to get a move on that more as the year comes to a close, because it's taking me forever, and we do have like 30 some episodes of that at this point, but I'm going to try to get them all downloaded at least, so they're not, gone forever.
Yeah, and this show, we've pretty much almost stayed weekly. I think we missed a week or two throughout time, but it was mainly due to just scheduling. Like we always had like watched and prepared for the shows weekly. Like we haven't missed a show preparing wise. It's just recording wise has kind of hindered us sometimes. So that's the only reason that, basically when we started this, it was like the first week of January. So, at the end of the year, there should be 52 episodes, but, I think it'll probably be like 50, 49, somewhere around there. But still, that's a hell of a run. So, yeah. And, like, dude, I was checking out, speaking of, like, because this show, primarily what we do here is we review, we have our little segments and other stuff like that. But we review a new movie, usually, almost every time. And I was like checking out, I was like looking at like upcoming stuff, because I try to, plan ahead and look at like what we're going to do next and stuff like that. And I was like, dude, there's actually like, they're starting to announce like movies like pretty frequently, like stuff that I'm interested in checking out. Like the trailer for the new Tremors 7 dropped, and we're definitely covering that on here because I'm a huge Tremors fan. So that's something that I, like, without a doubt will be tackling. So Carly, you probably need to watch all the Tremors movies so you know what's going on.
I mean, I technically kind of did, but I'm not.
You definitely haven't watched 6.
Is 6 in that multi-pack of
no,
DVDs
6
I have?
came out like 2 years ago.
Okay, then. No, I have not.
Yeah. 6 is called A Cold Day in Hell, I think.
Alright.
But this next one is called Shrieker Island or something, I think. So that excites me because I'm a huge fan of the Shriekers. Part 2 is like my favorite sequel, and it's all Shriekers. And I actually like the first one is just a classic, and it's an amazing movie. But part 2 is like kind of my go-to. I mean, part 1 is too, but I love part 2 a lot. So yeah, that I saw that Hulu announced their film adaptation of Clive Barker's Books of Blood, so that's something I would love to do on Shudder and Chill if we have the time. Coming out in October. The Babysitter 2 is coming out in I think like next week or like in September, I think. So that's cool.
Yeah.
I actually liked the first one quite a bit. So that's another film. And theaters seem to be, moving forward a little bit. Obviously, we just saw the New Mutants. So hopefully more titles come out. And the fourth quarter is always the best in terms of horror. October, November, December. Honestly, September, October, November, December. Well, yeah, that would be quarter, right? 4 months. Yeah. So yes. the last quarter always is the best quarter for horror, and especially like new horror. Well, obviously new horror. Wouldn't be old horror.
Right.
But that is exciting to me because I always, and it'll feel good because we'll have the summer series over with coming up here that we're doing with Podcast Under the Stairs, and we'll have the 91 show done. So I'll have like more for, 22 Shots will probably be back, so I'll probably be watching a bunch of stuff for that, but I'll at least feel like more free, because like 91 prep is just killing me right now and all that. So yeah,
it's a lot.
That is, I'm pretty excited for some of the new stuff coming out. So that's really cool. So yeah, also, I just got in the mail, I got the 4Ks of House by the Cemetery, Fulci's House by the Cemetery, as well as the New York Ripper. So that's really exciting. I kind of want to watch those, but I have no time to do that right now.
Yes,
but
we are not. You are not to watch any movies for fun.
In October, I'm gonna save them for October, and I'm gonna watch them in October. So that's definitely gonna happen.
I wonder if the theater shall play any throwback movies in October like they usually do now that they're open.
Yeah, I don't know, because
like their Wednesday night thing.
They're still not doing the classic. They're playing classic movies, but they don't have a classic movie night. Like
not a sign.
Today is Rocky 3. Yesterday was Rocky 2, and the day before that was Rocky 1, and I think tomorrow's Rocky 4, and so on. And then also you have like Jurassic Park playing, and Ghostbusters played the other night and stuff. So they're like, because there's not a lot of new movies. Like I think they played Beauty and the Beast the other day too. But yeah, there's not a ton of new movies, so it's gotta kind of mix in the old. But yeah, it'd be cool if they throw in some horror titles. We've seen a lot, so like the chances of them showing something we haven't seen is like, because they tend to show the more mainstream stuff like Psycho and things, will probably be probably not likely, but who knows, maybe. What else? So, this weekend we are going to a drive-in out in Mahoning, PA, which is about 5 hours and some change away from us, so it's gonna be quite a drive. But I'm pretty excited. We went there last year for Camp Blood. That was Camp Blood 5. We're going for Camp Blood 6 this year. Pretty cool lineup. I'm looking forward to. They do 3 movies each night: Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's a couple titles I'm definitely looking forward to. I'm knocking 2 more Friday the 13ths off the list, which is pretty exciting. What are they showing? Do you know? Do you have the list?
I was just looking up the event right now, and they are showing. Hold on, what the heck? Okay, night number 1, they were showing Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
Which,
followed...
hold on, relax, you don't have to rush through them.
I was just like excited, I'm sorry.
Friday the 13th part 4, my favorite Friday the 13th, so that's pretty exciting. I've not seen Friday the 13th part 4 in the theater or the drive-in, so knocking another one off the bucket list. I've always said, like, my bucket list films are like TCM, all the Friday the 13th and all the Nightmare on Elm Streets. So far I've only seen 1 Nightmare on Elm Street. Well, 3. Well, really, I've seen the original. I've seen Wes Craven's New Nightmare in '94 when it came out when I was 3 in the theater, and then I saw Freddy vs. Jason and the remake. So technically I've seen 4 of them, but you know that I was pretty young for most of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so Friday the 13th Part 4.
Yes. Then followed by that is The Burning,
which I'm excited to see simply because it's another title that I haven't seen before. Really glad it's not like Motel Hell again.
I know, I'm so sick. Like, I don't ever want to see that.
We've seen that
theater
twice,
again.
which is so stupid because I don't even like the movie.
And we saw it at this drive-in last year too. That was one of the ones.
That's right, it did play at this drive-in.
Yeah.
But the Burning, I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm really not. But because I haven't seen it in probably 5 years, and the fact that it's at the drive-in and, you know, on the big screen and stuff, and it's, you know, a slasher, it fits the atmosphere and summer camp and stuff, so pretty happy with that title.
Yeah, it kind of sucks because I did watch it recently this year, but I mean, it's not one. I mean, it's one that has rewatchability, and to see the drive-in will be pretty cool. But then after that is a movie I've never seen before, and that's Death Valley from 1982.
Death Valley is Death Valley is interesting because it has Ralphie in it from A Christmas Story. And
I see that. It says that on here.
He's the same. He definitely has to be around the same age because I think this is the same year. Yeah. And it's kind of cool. I think I haven't seen it in a long time. But it's I think it's like a road horror type thing. It takes place like out in the desert and stuff, and I want to say that his family runs into like a slasher killer guy or something. It was pretty cool. I've always liked that one. And I own it on Blu-ray. That was one of the early Scream Factory releases, like first 15 releases. And it had never been on disc before that, so it was pretty cool that got a release. But yeah, I'm looking forward. That's a oddity. Like, that's a rare one. That's probably not one you're gonna see a lot on the big screen. So very good, very, very solid night one, not gonna lie.
I agree. And then night number 2, Saturday, will be Sleepaway Camp,
which is a bucket list for me. That is one that I really wanted to always see on the big screen. Huge Sleepaway Camp fan. Definitely, it's in my top 50 favorite horror movies. Probably somewhere around the 25 mark. I maybe even under 25. I can't remember when I did that list, but it's a film that I'll never forget the first time I seen it. Like, you actually saw it way before me, which is rare, and especially for like a cult film. But when Netflix DVD by mail came out, or when it got semi-popular, I used to do the DVD by mail thing a lot, and I was just kind of looking for slashers, and I picked Sleepaway Camp and Ice Cream Man from '95, and I've seen Ice Cream Man before, but I went over to my friend Martin's house, and I think we drank and just like played pool or something, and then we kind of chilled out and watched movies, and he fell asleep during Sleepaway Camp, which was the first one, and me and his little brother Stone stayed up and watched both of them, and it was kind of a great double feature because even though they're completely different movies in terms of, you know, tone, not necessarily tone, but like aesthetic, you know, one's a summer camp slasher and one's like a goofy 90s thing, but both of them are really bizarre performances in movies and stuff. So like we watched Sleepaway Camp first, and I remember we were like just making fun of it and laughing because it was like we thought it was so bad because of the, you know, cheesiness of it. And when it got to that damn end, it was so scary, and our mouths just dropped open, and I looked over at him and his mouth's open, and I'm like, what the, you know, I was like, just what is going on here? This is weird. And yeah, that was oh man, that was such a fun moment. And then we watched Ice Cream Man after that, and that movie's just freaking bizarre. And it's so weird, but I love it. I love Ice Cream Man, and that was a great little night double feature. So yeah, Sleepaway Camp, hugely excited for that on the big screen. And Felissa Rose is supposed to be in attendance.
She is. And also, what's his name? First Jason, Ari Lehman, shall also be there. I think night 1 he's supposed to be there.
Well, see, I was a little confused because there is technically a night 0 type thing on Thursday where they're showing the original Friday the 13th. So I don't know if he's going to be there that night only or what's up with that. So I was a little not sure.
Well, either way, I'd rather meet Felissa Rose anyway. And then after that, one that I'm not too excited for because I didn't really care for this movie, but it's The Funhouse. Tobe Hooper.
Oh, really? You don't like The Funhouse?
I only saw it once, and I wasn't that impressed. I felt like there was a lot of nothingness until like the ending. It just seemed like, I don't know. It didn't seem like they utilized stuff that well.
The Funhouse is a movie that I actually owned on VHS as a kid. And I used to, it's funny you mentioned that you thought it was kind of nothing, because I used to try to watch it and I would get bored and I would never finish it. But when Scream Factory put out the Blu-ray, which I think was like the 4th release, 3rd or 4th, maybe 5th, but I picked it up and I watched it and I thought it was just okay. And then when I rewatched it a couple years later, I really kind of dug it. And we actually had an opportunity to see the Funhouse a couple of years ago. It was at another drive-in, the Vandergrift one that we always go to. They did a Tobe Hooper night the year that he passed away, and they did Life Force, Poltergeist, Invaders from Mars, and the Funhouse. And one I didn't I think Poltergeist was first, or maybe Life Force was first. I had no interest in watching that. And then it was Poltergeist, which honestly, like, I like Poltergeist and stuff, but it's another one of those titles that seems to play a lot. So I was just like, we have such many opportunities to see it. And I think I just watched it recently too, so I wasn't like super jazzed on that. And then Invaders from Mars would have been cool, but it's really not like, I would have much preferred like Eaten Alive or something. Like Invaders from Mars is like kind of one of my least favorite Hooper movies. And then the last one was the Funhouse, and that was the only one I actually wanted to see, but I didn't want to go for 3 other movies that I really wasn't interested in to see the Funhouse. And I think we might have went the first night or something. Yeah, we did go the first night, and it was just like, I don't really feel like going back. I think that was the year where we like saw a bunch of stuff in September, I think we were doing well, so we didn't feel the need. Like right now, I would definitely go to that.
I don't remember like what year. Everything runs together. Like I don't remember what the other night was.
I think the other night was the ABCD one, where they did like
the creature ones,
alligator,
like alligator and critters,
basket case, and
no, it was the Boogans.
Oh, Boogans and Deadly Spawn.
Yeah.
Which that was really fun. That was a good one. But yeah, I think we were just kind of really happy with night 1 and really didn't care for night 2 too much, so we just didn't go. But yeah, I'm the Funhouse definitely. That might be that's up there for me in terms of the ones that I'm most excited for.
I see. Well then, finally on that night we have Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood.
Which, at one point in time, was my favorite Friday the 13th. Back when... it was actually the first Friday the 13th I saw, back when I was like 2 or 3. And I had seen it a couple other times after that, but I always can never remember which one it was. And I would always try to rent a Friday the 13th film and rent that one, but it was like a streak of like me renting everyone but that one, and then like everyone twice but that one, because I couldn't remember if I rented part 6 already, or part 4 already, or part 5 already, because I never knew which one was which when I was a kid. And eventually I found it. I was really happy. And yeah, so that was it. That was kind of one that I rented a lot after I figured out what it was. But since then, it's actually like severely tanked in terms of my favorite Friday the 13th. However, I'm still really excited to see it on the big screen. First appearance of Kane Hodder. I think it's his best performance as Jason, and I think that the fun thing about 7 is the final sequence, like the final battle between Jason and essentially Carrie. That whole thing is really fun. I love that part. So the final chase, her using her powers and stuff, all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited to see 2 Friday films again, and I'm happy
What
that they
were
are
the
not
two we
Jason
did
X or
last
Jason
year?
Goes to Hell.
Jason
Goes to Hell, Part 3.
Part 3, yeah. Okay. So
Part 3 was cool.
Yeah, so I would, after this, I'll have seen Part 1, 3, 4, 7, Jason Goes to Hell, and Freddy vs. Jason in the remake.
Yeah, that's like almost all of them.
Yeah.
Dodging Part 2, which is the one that I would like to see the most.
Probably me too. And 5. 2 and 5.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, those are honestly, yeah. But I'm sure we'll get that chance eventually. But then there's also a third night, which they did not do last year, because last year was actually in August still, but this is falling on Labor Day weekend, so it's like their special event where they're doing 3 nights. And on this night's kind of weird. First up, you have Pieces from '82. You don't need to be in Texas for a Chainsaw Massacre.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen that?
So, yeah, I've seen it twice. I didn't like it so much the first time, then the second time it grew on me. So I think it's a fun movie.
You know what? I'm not a huge fan of it. It's kind of like a Spanish giallo, honestly.
Yeah, it is.
The gore is great, and I'm sure it'll be awesome on the big screen, but I've never been a huge fan of that movie. I do have the sexy Grindhouse releasing edition, which is the definitive edition to get. But yeah, I've never been like the biggest fan of that one. So, I'm sure I'll have fun with it, but yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, one that I've only seen once. Austin likes this movie, so I watched it, but I didn't like it too much, and that's The Prowler. I know a lot of people like this, but maybe watching it a second time, I'll like it more.
I've seen The Prowler maybe 3 times. I saw it once on Blu-ray, and then I watched it as part of the 24-hour Joe Bob thing, which I barely remember anything from that night. Yeah. And then I rewatched it maybe like last year, because I was like going through and rewatching some of those because I didn't remember any of them. So I watched it with Joe Bob. It's good. It's good. Yeah, I like The Prowler.
Cool. And then finally is a movie I don't even think I've heard of, and that is Massacre at Central High from 1976.
Yeah, I think that just barely missed my top 10 on 76. It's pretty cool because it is like a slasher, but it's sort of a proto, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it predates Halloween.
Yeah, and it's not like amazing, but it's a cool curiosity piece. That's another title that like you're not gonna see on the big screen. I don't even think it has a disc release. Like it's not on Blu-ray or anything, I don't think. So yeah, that's a pretty cool title. Gotta admit though, like Third Night is definitely the weakest night for me because none of those movies I'm like a huge fan of. So they're not, I don't have like they don't hold a special place in my heart, but that's fine because the first 2 nights are pretty stacked.
Right. I am very excited. I'm glad that we get to go. I'm glad they're doing it, and I am pumped.
It's all slashers too, you know?
Yeah, those are my favorite types of moves. So it is it is like pretty much a 5-hour drive, so it is pretty much a hike for us, but
it sucks. It's a sucky drive, especially the third night, because we'll watch all 3 movies and then drive straight home, I think.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So that's gonna suck.
Yes, you shall drive.
Depending on how I feel, I'll decide if I take first or second shift.
Dude, you're not
Last
even
time
gonna take
I
any
drove
shifts.
the whole way home, I think.
All right, I'm just saying I drove home from like Gettysburg and my cornea is like burnt out my eyeballs because they were so dried up.
No, I think it was this one that you drove most of the way home from, and I drove home from Gettysburg.
Oh, that would make more sense.
Yeah.
But
it's a miserable drive. You figure they'll probably be over at like, if they start at 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, like probably like 3 a.m. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8 a.m. We're gonna get home. Like, oh, dude, it's horrible. But it'll be worth it, you know.
Yes, I like to focus on the positives, that we're going to have a fun time.
Yeah, so, if you're out in that area, you know, say hello. I'm not so sure how I'm feeling about getting a picture with Felissa Rose, if it's mask-oriented. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd at least want to get her autograph, though.
Yeah,
I'm going to bring...
I can't decide if I want to take my Sleepaway Camp poster or the Blu-ray.
Yeah, I have that, you know, that box, the DVD box set. I might bring that. Yeah, I think that would be cool, because I have that, and then, of course, the Scream Factory Blu-ray. So, but I think I'd rather get the box set signed.
Yeah. Okay, so with that said, anything else happened this week for you?
I don't think so. I recorded with Austin yesterday, movie versus movie, so that'll be out soon. But other than that, pretty bland week, I would say. Just been, you know, watching movies, trying to watch some more 91 movies and summer series movies and all the movies. And now we are recording. So, yeah, nothing too exciting happened.
I had one thing happen. I started playing this game called Graveyard Keeper on Xbox. Well, first I downloaded the UFC 4 demo and I played a little bit of that, and I like hated it. I couldn't stand it. I don't really like the UFC games, but I was like kind of craving a game, so I dropped $20 on Graveyard Keeper, which I wasn't happy about, but I actually had some money in my PayPal account, like $45 from sending those DVD packs out to Chad for 22 shots. I got reimbursed for that, so I had some money just sitting there, so it was like, you know, it didn't feel too bad. But it's a really fun game. It's kind of like Harvest Moon or like Stardew Valley, but you're a graveyard keeper, and it has like decent music, and it's kind of looks like an old like NES or Super NES game, like sort of like that 8-bit type look, or 16-bit or whatever. And you basically you farm, and you chop wood and make stuff out of the wood, and you have like a skill tree where you like upgrade stuff, but you also tend to a graveyard, so like every day a donkey drives by and like on a cart and delivers a body, and then you have to take it to the autopsy table and do like an autopsy, and there's a whole system with that on like the body decomposing and stuff, and then you bury it, and then you put like gravestones and markers and stuff on it that can raise or lower your overall like point system of the graveyard. Like the nicer the body, the nicer the better job you do with the autopsy, and like the gravestones and stuff, the higher your rank is, and makes your graveyard better, and you make more money and stuff like that. So it's super like simple and tedious. Like a lot of it is it's so funny that like people have created games out of like just busy work. Like you just like all you're doing is clicking and going and picking up stuff and you know, like harvesting your pumpkins or your, you know, carrots to feed the donkey, and, you know, replanting stuff, and then going up and chopping trees and coal and iron ore and stuff. And it's just a super peaceful type of game though. But I will tell you what, that game destroys hours. Like the other day I watched one movie. I was like, I'm gonna play 1 hour of this, and then I'll watch another movie, and I felt like I barely did anything, and like an hour 25 minutes had passed, and I was like, well shoot. So I played for 2 hours. Bad idea to start picking up games whenever you're trying to prep for stuff.
Yeah, that's what sucks, because I do enjoy video games, but I know that I just I can't say, oh, I'm only going to play for 30 minutes, especially if you're playing a survival game or something like that. Like, that one sounds more just relaxing and whatnot, but I'm not going to play Resident Evil and then die a bunch of times or something, and then 30 minutes go by really quick, so you can't tell yourself that.
Can't
then
believe
you always
die
end
a
up playing
bunch of times in Resident Evil.
Dude, I'm not that good at games. But anyway, I'll get better at
I've played Bean Machine with you.
Dude, I kicked your ass at Bean Machine. But no, but like video games is something that I always liked playing video games growing up, but now I feel like I almost feel this guilt like weighing down on me, like I have to be watching a movie at all times, so it's hard for me to...
That's not good though. Like we can't be like that, you know.
I know, like right now though, like later.
Right now, yeah. But
yeah.
Like, yeah, I was a big gamer growing up too. Like, I used to spend 8 hours a day playing games, you know, 10 hours. When I didn't have a job, I played 12 hours a day.
I would play from morning to night sometimes on the weekends, and it would be like I played Sly Cooper. Did you ever play those games?
Nope.
Oh, well, I had this Sly Cooper game. It was so much fun, and I like started playing at 10 a.m. one day, and then my parents came in at like 7 p.m. and they were like, "Do you want to like do anything else today, or do you want dinner?" And I was like, "Oh no." I was like 10.
Yeah, I used to get really into it too, and I kind of stopped a lot, you know. It is very time consuming. That's why I like games like Madden, which I know like most game, like unless you like sports games, you don't play Madden. But I love Madden. But I'm probably honestly like the new one comes out like this week, or it came out last week or something, but I'm honestly probably not going to get it because they haven't really done enough to warrant like a new purchase, because it comes out every year and it's kind of the same game this time, but just updated rosters and stuff. So I think I'm going to skip it this year, or I might get it when it's like Black Friday or something. I don't know. So that's why I bought that game. But the thing is, like, Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remake comes out next week, and I'm probably gonna have to buy it because that's that's in my top 5 games of all time. The first Tony Hawk.
I forget. Tony Hawk Are they all called Tony Hawk Underground, or is
no
one of them?
That's like the 6th one, I think. Or fifth one. It's the 5th one.
I think I had that one growing up, and I would spend hours playing it, and I liked going on to the, there was like a special section where you can make your own course, and I liked doing that.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Tony Hawk Underground was definitely one I put a lot of hours into. But the first 2 will always be my favorite, particularly the first one. Like, I love the first one. The second one's better. It's a better game. But the first one I just love so much. And I played so many hours of Tony Hawk as a kid. Me and my cousin. Just so much. I bought them all up until Underground 2. American Wasteland. I gave up after American Wasteland, and I haven't bought a Tony Hawk game since. So yeah, the remake in part 1 and 2 is like huge to me. Can't wait. I used to just play those games nonstop. So I'm really excited for Tony Hawk remakes there. That's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I want to play games now.
I know. So with that said, I guess we should get into what we watched.
We should. We definitely should. Have you watched a lot this week?
I don't think I watched a ton. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 titles.
All right. Well, who shall go first?
Go ahead.
All right. I think I watched a little bit more than that, but first up, I watched, and this was for Movie versus Movie, which we recorded yesterday, but that was The Happening from 2008. I had never seen this movie. I had always heard horrible things about it, so I never wanted to see it, but Austin wanted to watch it and compare it to Bird Box from 2018. So that gave me a reason to watch it finally. And I must say, I didn't think it was that bad of a movie. You know, I always heard it was horrible and a piece of trash. And I think it's just because people hated M. Night Shyamalan since he made such good movies. And then he made this, and it's clearly a big step down. But I think if some nobody director would have made this, it wouldn't have been hated on as much, because I thought it was kind of cool. I mean, the concept is creepy. You know, people were just committing suicide out of the blue and not really knowing exactly what's going on at first. It's, you know, sort of just like that major, almost pandemic-y type of plot. I thought it had some good scenery, and it had memorable characters. They had that quirky humor to them, which sometimes it got on my nerves a little bit, but I find that M. Night puts that in a lot of his movies, like with Signs and The Village even a little bit, so it seemed very much like his type of film. But I thought it had some decent moments in it. I could see why people don't like it as much, because there were parts that I didn't think were that good. Like, there was some acting in it that I thought was a little bit off-putting and weird, and I also felt that character development was kind of lacking with the two main characters, you know, the guy and his girlfriend or wife, or I think it's just his girlfriend, you know, Zooey Deschanel and Mark Wahlberg. I just didn't really care about them too much, but other than that, I thought it was decent. I gave that one a 7 out of 10. Then after that, I watched The Host. The Host from, I think, 2008, 2009, somewhere like that. And this is, you know, the creature feature type of movie. I'd never seen this one before. I never really knew. I'm not really into the big creature films, so it wasn't one that really appealed to me, but I thought it was pretty cool. It was a pretty good movie. There's actually a lot of humor in the film that works pretty well, and it is subtitled, so it's like funny reading moments that are supposed to be funny rather than hearing them actually be said, but you could hear it in the tone of voice of the people, so I thought it all worked really well. It was a pretty cool story. The movie's rather long. It runs about 2 hours, but you're along for the ride. It's not just full-on monster attacking the town type of movie like I thought it would be. It's kind of more of a story of a dad trying to get his daughter back that he believes is still alive and got taken by the monster. So I thought that was cool. It's got a little bit of everything, you know, comedy, some drama, and horror. Monster doesn't look too great in my opinion. I mean, it looks very fake, but you know, other than that, I thought it was pretty good. I gave that an 8 out of 10. Then after that, I watched Oldboy. Oldboy, about a guy who gets imprisoned for 15 years without any knowledge as to why, and doesn't really look like, you know, your standard prison, so it's more like he's being held captive, but no one tells him why. Then he is released, and he spends the rest of the movie kind of trying to figure out what the heck happened, why this happened to him, what he did to deserve it, and who did it. I thought this was a really fantastic film. Another one that's long, but you're very much along for the ride because there's so many different aspects happening, and you know, what you find out happened at the end is very horrific, but I did not think this was really a horror movie. A revenge movie, yes, and a movie that does have some violent and graphic moments, yes, but to me it was just that. It was a revenge type of film, and that's it. I mean, like I said, it's horrific what turns out to be the whole reveal at the end. It's very disgusting, but you could say that for a lot of movies that aren't horror as well. So to me, it wasn't a horror film, but I thought it was very, very solid. I gave this an 8.5 out of 10. Then after that, as per my run through 91, I watched Doll Man, and this is essentially about some cop on this planet who ends up on planet Earth, but when he gets there, he's very short. He's you know, a miniature version of himself, and he's kind of in this bad part of Earth, just a bad rundown type of area. And this woman finds him, this woman who really believes in kind of changing the town and trying to change people's ways. She finds him, takes him home. She has a son, and they kind of sort of have this weird little thing going back and forth, and then, you know, something happens to the lady, and it's Mr. Dollman's job to kind of get her back and save the day as the badass he is. I thought this was pretty good. It's a full moon movie. I kind of put this one off because it just sounded stupid. The title Doll Man sounded dumb to me, but I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. And it was just a fun movie, you know. It wasn't too long. It kind of gets to the point pretty fast. There's not a whole lot to it, but I thought it was fun. I gave that a 7 out of 10. Then after that, I watched Thirst, I believe from 2009, and Thirst is essentially a vampire love story type of film where this guy, it turns out he becomes a vampire. I forget how that all plays out at the beginning, to be honest, but he ends up being very vampire-esque, where he's, you know, into feeding off blood and stuff like that, and he can't come out during the day and whatnot. He meets this girl who kind of lives in a household that she's not very pleased with. She lives with her mom and her brother, and they kind of treat her like a slave of sorts, and she's just kind of fed up with it. But she meets this guy and falls in love with him, and then kind of finds out his secrets, and then she's very intrigued by it, and the story kind of goes from there. I thought this was really good. Solid vampire film. I've come to find I really enjoy vampire films, not so much like the action-y based ones that are kind of very stylized. Like, I'm not a huge fan of 30 Days of Night or anything like that, but these ones that are a little bit slower paced and have a love story involved, much like Let the Right One In or Transfiguration in a way. I really enjoy these. This movie was really good. The story is keeps you so intrigued throughout it. There is some comedy in it, and at first I wasn't into that. I thought it was a little bit off-putting for the serious nature that it tries to portray, but by the end, I really dug it. Some of the comedy was actually laugh out loud funny to me. It was very well utilized, so I gave that a 9 out of 10. I really liked it. Then after that, I watched Bird Box, which I haven't seen since 2018. That movie was very, very hyped, and everyone and their mother was into that film when it came out on Netflix. And rewatching it, when I originally saw it, I actually gave it a 10 out of 10, and it made my number 1 of the year. But rewatching it, I kind of saw a few flaws I didn't really like with it so much, so it wasn't as good this time around, but it was still really good nonetheless. I think it has solid characters, and the plot is cool. Like I said, we compared it to The Happening, pretty much the same type of plot, which is interesting, where there's something going around that's making people commit suicide and no one really knows why. So I thought that was interesting that it is very similar, but yeah, a lot like The Happening. I gave this an 8.5 out of 10 though. Then after that, as per my run through 91, I watched Prom Night 4, Deliver Us from Evil. This was weird. I've never seen part 3. I kind of watched part 2 once, but I was drinking with my friends, and I think it was from Prom Night 4.
Oh, I haven't watched that yet.
Oh. Yeah, it's a strange movie. It's, centered around prom night, but there's also like this demonic type aspect to it, so it feels like an exorcism movie mixed with a slasher film. It's very strange. I thought it was alright. I feel like there's a lot of almost downtime moments to it, because it starts out strong. You think it's going to be a typical slasher movie, and then it goes into all this, demonic type stuff, and with the church and whatnot, and then kind of goes back to prom night. So it's very strange in that aspect, and nothing really too memorable happens until the end result, but I thought it was alright. I mean, I gave it a 6.5 out of 10.
I've never seen any of them besides the first and the remake.
Yeah, I forgot about the remake. I've seen the first, I've seen the remake, and I tried to watch part 2 once, but I don't remember it at all.
Mary Lou?
Yes. I didn't pay any attention to it, honestly, and I'd never seen part 3. But then after that, I watched The House of the Devil, and I watched that last night. And yeah, I seen this once, I think in 2016. I was over some friend's house, and they put it on, and I fell in love with it. I was super into it. It's very kind of simple thing. This girl, she's kind of desperate for money. She's a young girl. She's trying to get a new apartment. So, and she, owes the rent by Monday. So she asks, or she gets a flyer thing for this babysitting job, calls them up, and the guy's like really willing to have her work there. He's kind of desperate for a babysitter. She gets there, and it turns out that it's not what she thought. He really just wants her to look after his old elderly mother who is upstairs sleeping, but it's only going to be for 4 hours, and the lady's probably going to be asleep the whole time, so seems like he pays her like $400 for it, so kind of crazy, it's like $100 an hour. But while she's there, some weird stuff kind of occurs, and it turns out to be a little too good to be true. I really enjoy this film. I think it's very good. It's a throwback type of movie, and I think they capture the aesthetic really well. I liked it quite a bit. I mean,
Ty West.
Yeah, Ty West. It's creepy too. There's a few really creepy parts, especially of course the ending. But throughout it, it reminds me of something like When a Stranger Calls, or like the Babysitter book from R.L. Stine, or any of those babysitter horror stories where you just have a girl alone trying to pass the time, and then weird stuff is happening. I really enjoy it. I give that an 8.5 out of 10. So that is the gist of what I have watched. Now, what have you watched?
Alright, so let's see here. The first movie that I watched is per my run through 91, number 46 here. We have Riki Oh, The Story of Riki. Now, this is one of those titles where I'm not sure if it's going to be on anybody's lists. I would imagine that it will show up on someone's list. It's not a horror movie. It's more of a martial arts prison movie, but it also has that of a splatter film. So it does have like insane gore and just tons of gore. So it kind of satisfies that horror itch whenever you watch it, even if it's not a horror film. It satisfies the same types of things you look for in a horror film. So I would be surprised if it didn't show up at least on like one or two lists for 91, because it is a really good movie. I had seen it once before. It's actually on Tubi, if you're interested in checking it out. But it follows a guy named Riki who is sent to prison for 10 years. And the prison is sort of a hellhole, and it's just run by gangs and heroin dealers and corrupt, officers and stuff like that. And Riki is just a badass dude. Like, he is just a savage. He has like 6 bullets in his chest. And they ask him why he didn't have the doctors remove them, and he's like, because they're a souvenir or something like that. They forget exactly what he says, but he's just like a badass dude, man. He literally he punches holes through chests, and he's just tough. Like, at one scene they put a bunch of razor blades in his mouth and then beat the crap out of him, so they're like, then it cuts to his face and all the razor blades are like sticking out of his cheeks and stuff like that, and then he spits them at someone else and they're all in their face and stuff. It's just a nuts movie, man. It's crazy. And he has like a tragic story where he lost his love to heroin dealers and stuff like that, but it's just a blast, honestly. I wish they made like 100 of these, because it's so fun. I think it's the only one though. I give that an 8 out of 10. Then I watched Highway to Hell. This film follows a kid and his chick. I think they get married. They elope, and they stop at this gas station, and the dude basically tells them hey, don't fall asleep between these 2 trees. And of course his girlfriend does, and there's some kind of curse or something put on this area, and this hell cop basically captures the girlfriend for basically Satan, and takes her back to hell. And the kid follows, and he's trying to retrieve his girlfriend, and hell's kind of just, it's not like brimstone and fire and craziness. It's like just regular world, but weird. and there's all kind of weird things that he runs into and people and stuff like that. And actually, Ben Stiller has a small part in it. And yeah, I thought it was really fun. It was like a road horror film. I dig that. So I dug it. I gave it a 7.5.
Cool.
Then I watched Door into Silence from 1991, and that is a Lucio Fulci film. This is actually Fulci's final film before he died, and it basically follows a guy who is leaves his father's funeral. I think it's his father, and is driving and basically runs into like this hearse, and it's basically him trying to figure out what's going on and stuff like that. It's very straightforward. Like, you could kind of see where it's going the entire movie, especially like from the opening clip. And it feel like the best way I could describe it is if you took like a episode of Tales from the Crypt or Tales from the Dark Side or any of those like anthology TV series with like short stories, and you flesh it out into an hour-and-a-half movie. That's kind of what this is. It's kind of void of gore or any nudity. There's a little bit of effects in it, and it's kind of just like this dude traveling down a road driving like most of the movie, and stopping at different places and stuff like that. But I know Dave really doesn't like it, but I found it very easy to watch, honestly. So I didn't mind it, honestly. It's not a great movie or anything. It's like I said, you can see where it's going. The story's like not very creative or anything, but I said that this feels like the most American Fulci film I ever seen. Oh, it also takes place in New Orleans, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't mind it. I gave it a 6.5. And then I watched Mom from 1991 as well. And Mom follows a older lady who basically gets a boarder. This guy propositions, a way for her to make some money, and he's basically, would you call him a vampire?
I guess so. This is actually like probably the second movie I watched for 91 months ago.
Oh wow. Yeah, so he's kind of like a vampire thing. Like online they said flesh eater, but like I don't know. It's like kind of vampire-ish. And he turns the mom into one, and then the son is kind of like conflicted because his mom's like out there trying to kill people, and he's trying to tie her up in the house and stuff like that. And it's a comedy. I liked it. It was fun. The only thing, I didn't really laugh at anything. It's kind of like that dark comedy, but I didn't really laugh at anything,
I didn't even, like, I know it was supposed to be kind of funny, but then like I almost saw it as tragic in a way, because he's trying to keep his mom from doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
I just remember I really enjoyed that one.
And yeah, he there's some fun effects on the mom and stuff like that, so it's kind of cool. I think Julian Sands might be in this one. Don't quote me on that. Of course, that's the Warlock.
Right.
And then after that, I watched Nothing But Trouble, which is, I think, Dan Aykroyd directed this one. And it stars Dan Aykroyd and Demi Moore and Chevy Chase and John Candy. So it has quite the cast. This one's kind of borderline horror. I saw some people say like that it's more like not really a horror film, it's a comedy, but I actually think that it has enough horror elements in it. So basically Chevy Chase, Demi Moore, and this other couple are driving to Atlanta or something. They take a shortcut and they end up in this like, I forget what the hell it was called. It was something like something Vania or something, like some funny name like Batvania or something. I don't know. And they get in a police chase or whatever, and the couple in the back kind of eggs Chevy Chase on to like run from the cops and stuff like that, and he ends up getting caught, and they take him to it's John, played by John Candy, and they take him to the judge, and the judge is like a 107-year-old weird, like creepy ass dude in this creepy ass town, and he basically sentenced them to like, I don't know, for like life or something crazy, and they're like stuck in this town, and they like kind of kill people that come in this town. It's like, it reminds you of like a goofball Texas Chainsaw type thing. And then like the judge has like is this like his daughter or granddaughter or something? I don't know, but she's played by John Candy. It's really ridiculous. And then actually, you know what? Digital Underground plays in it, and like Tupac's in the background in this movie. Like, it's weird, you know. Early Tupac, 1991, you know. But he's in the background in this movie, which is it's just weird, you know. I didn't expect that. And was there somebody else in this movie too? I feel like there was another person in this movie that shows up later, but I can't remember. But honestly, like, I didn't think I was gonna. It is really. I mean, it's Looney Tunes. Like, it literally, like, there's a part in the movie towards the end where, like, somebody like goes through a wall and it's like the outline of the body. You know what I mean? It's like literally Looney Tunes at that point. But Dan Aykroyd's like hilarious as the judge, and I always like Chevy Chase and Demi Moore looking smoking. So yeah, it's pretty fun. I enjoyed it. I recommend it. And then I watched David Cronenberg's Naked Lunch, which is another sort of borderline debatable horror film on this one. Man, this movie was weird. I need to watch it again. I kind of didn't understand a lot of it. From what I gathered, it follows this guy who's like an exterminator, and he's like breathing in all these chemicals and stuff, and his wife starts doing this drug, which is basically like an insecticide or something, and like he kills her, or he catches her like having sex with his friend or something, and then he like he's like he's investigating this like under this drug ring that are taking this drug out of like giant centipedes out in, I think he's there in like Egypt or something. I don't remember where they even are, but it's bizarre. There's like a cockroach is like, his typewriter turns into a cockroach and stuff, and like a giant cockroach, and it's telling him what to do. And there's this like giant other bug monster thing. It's really weird and bizarre, and got that like gore body horror thing going on in it. Definitely some weird Cronenberg. Again, I would probably need to see it again, probably pick up the Criterion eventually, because I kind of I didn't understand if it was just supposed to be like he's tripping from all the bad insecticide he's been breathing in, and the whole movie's kind of that, or I didn't really 100% get it. But you know, I haven't really looked up any reviews or like people's thoughts on it either, but yeah, it was interesting. I'll say that. And then I watched Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, and I used to not be a massive Godzilla fan. I'm still not a massive Godzilla fan, but I've definitely come around on the big green monster a little bit, because they're kind of fun, you know. It's funny, I think 85 was last year we had a Godzilla movie. The year before that was 72, I think, and we had a Godzilla movie. So 3 Godzilla movies for our last 3 years. And this one in particular is maybe the one that I had the most fun with, I think. No, I liked 85 a lot too. Godzilla 85 was fun.
Yeah.
And the other one before that I really liked. I don't know. They're really fun. They're kind of run together and forgettable after I watch them. But this one is interesting because it takes place where these people come back from the future, and they basically take these people in Japan back to the past during World War II, on like an island where a dinosaur that is like supposedly what Godzilla eventually mutated to due to radiation exists, and they decide to kill the dinosaur and transport the body into the ocean because they believe that that's where Godzilla came from, so they're trying to stop it. But unbeknownst to the the protagonists, the futurelings are actually bad guys, and in the future Japan is a powerhouse and they're upset, so they came back to like screw up Japan, and basically they put these 3 little monsters on the island where the dinosaur was that would eventually turn into Godzilla, and instead it mutates this monster into King Ghidorah, which is like the 3-headed one. And then the people are like, shoot, we got rid of Godzilla, and who's gonna fight this giant monster? But then they realize, oh well, it turns out that place where we put Godzilla also had a radiation spill there, so we can just activate that and Godzilla can come back. It actually is pretty convoluted and stupid when you really think about everything, but it got a lot of fun, battles and miniatures and stuff like that, and Godzilla, and you get Mecha Ghidorah eventually, so I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Pretty cool movie. And then finally I watched this. It is Cast a Deadly Spell, also 91. Actually, everything was 91 this week for me.
It was.
Yeah. Cast a Deadly Spell. This is an HBO TV movie from 91. And it stars Fred Ward, who starred in the original Tremors and Tremors 2. He plays Earl. And this movie's really neat. It's like he plays a guy named H.P. Lovecraft, and he's a private eye. And this guy basically hires him because these thugs stole his Necronomicon book, and he has 48 hours to track this guy down and figure it out. And this guy also has like a virgin daughter and stuff, who's 16. And basically, which is weird because she like comes on to Fred Ward like really hard, and I'm like, wait, did they say she was 16 earlier? I can't remember. But the cool thing about this movie is it's set in the 40s. But it's like a fictional 40s. So everyone in the town uses magic and like witchcraft and stuff. But Fred Ward's like old school, and he doesn't use spells or anything. He does it old school, detective style. But everybody else in the city, it's like in LA, and everybody else uses magic. So it kind of is weird. There's like gremlins in it and stuff. It's fun. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's cool, like setup and story and stuff. I thought by the end it was kind of like by the numbers, like how it all plays out and stuff like that. But it was a fun little creative movie, and it has like this noir style to it, with the like 40s detective and stuff. And I dig that. I love. I haven't seen a ton of noirs, but I've always liked the aesthetic. I love like when things mimic noirs, like Rugrats or something. They would do like the noir episode and stuff, and cartoons used to do that sometimes. I dig that stuff. It's fun, the narration and things. So yeah, Cast a Deadly Spell, definitely a highlight of 91. Probably like one of the better gems, honestly. The cover art is atrocious for this thing, though.
I don't think watching 91 moves.
Why?
Because I'm scared.
Why?
Because I don't even know what you're talking. Like, what? Cast a Deadly Spell? Where'd that one come from?
They've been talking about it.
I don't pay attention.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it for me. I think that I'm going to. I have Delicatessen left that I want to get to. Child's Play 3. People Under Stairs. Probably want to do Necromantic 2. Probably Prom Night 4. And maybe a handful of others. Now somebody was talking about Kafka. I've seen Moods watch that. Oh, I want to rewatch Popcorn because I only half watched it. So yeah, I still have like maybe 10 that I would like to get to.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's looking likely. I kind of took some time off this week and didn't really get the stuff. So I don't know. We have 2 weeks left?
Well, this week, and then I guess the end of next week, aren't we? Record September 11th?
Yeah, so
is that the date?
Have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-ish days left. 11 and a half, so yeah. yeah, that's getting kind of scary, buddy. So
I mean, to be honest, I feel like at this point, I feel like nothing's gonna like make its way into my top 10. Like I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
I've
You haven't
watched.
watched Cast the Deadly Spell yet,
Shut up, dude.
or
I'll
Riki
watch
Oh,
this.
or Naked
Stop.
Lunch,
I don't know if I'm gonna watch Riki
or
Oh.
Nothing But Trouble as well, which is.
I
fun.
did watch that. I forgot to mention it.
Oh really?
I didn't really care for the comedy. It's not my type of comedy. I mean, I thought the plot, like, I did give it a favorable rating. I gave it like 7.5 because I thought it was a cool movie. But the comedy aspects, I don't like that goofy, like over
I mean,
the top.
that was not my favorite part of the movie, to be honest. I don't really care for it either. I like the creepy little fucking hobo town with creepy ass
Yeah.
107-year-old Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, that was funny when the credits rolled, and it's like I didn't even realize it was Dan Aykroyd. And then it's also funny how it's like Dan Aykroyd as this character, then it was like Dan Aykroyd as this character, then it was like John Candy as the cop, John Candy as the dog. Like, it was funny.
Yeah. Honestly, I never even heard of this movie before 91. So
Me neither.
And I thought I would, because it's freaking John Candy, man. I mean, he's so
And
likable.
Chevy Chase, like
Chevy
both of
Chase
them.
and Dan Aykroyd, you know. So yeah, that's I thought it was pretty fun. I liked it. But yeah, Delicatessen is another one I hear good things about. So that's like a French one, I think. So try to watch that as well. But yeah, I wanted to get to like Shake, Rattle, and Roll and Pinocchio 945 or whatever, and I just don't know if I'm gonna get to all that. I really need to actually watch all the heavy hitters like that I didn't get to yet, like Child's Play 3 and People Under the Stairs, just to get them out of the way.
Those two, you just like that Pinocchio and that Shake, aren't those both like foreign films?
Japanese.
Yeah, I've been watching way too many subtitled movies lately, which usually I don't mind, but I feel like I've just watched too many in a row to where I have to watch something in my language. But those are two that I want to watch too, so I'm gonna try to get to them.
All right. So I also didn't watch Lace and Steel, which I think somebody rated high. So I don't know if we'll get to that either. Damn it. So anyway, dude, I mean, I'm in the 50s here, and I still feel like I have. It's like insane. I didn't think there was that much depth to 91, but apparently there is.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me get into my blind spot here, which is Panic Room from 2002. 2 hours. Thank you, Carly.
You're welcome.
It's a thriller. I didn't know Jodie Foster was in it. I also didn't know that Kristen Stewart did anything before Twilight.
Oh yeah, dude, she was in Jersey Cold Creek Manor.
Nope.
Yeah, you said when we were making up our list, you said you seen that because I asked you if you'd seen it before.
I have seen it, but I don't remember it.
Then she's also in Speak. Yeah, she was like a kid actor. I think she was a better actress back then.
So yeah, Jodie Foster, Kristen Stewart, are basically house shopping, and they get a good deal on this house that this like millionaire owned, and it has this panic room in it. So basically it is like a bomb shelter, it's a panic room. So it like, you can go in there and the door like locks, and it's a big steel door, and it's reinforced by like concrete and steel and stuff like that. And just so conveniently, the same night they move in, the son of the millionaire is coming to break into the house because apparently in the panic room there was a, what do you call it, like a safe which had like millions of dollars in it.
Mm-hmm.
So he hires like a hitman and some other dudes, and they go into the house and they realize, oh shit, people are home. But then they're like, we come too far, and they're like, they're like, we're gonna deal with this. But then Jodie Foster and Kristen Stewart get into the panic room, and there's like surveillance in there and stuff, and basically they're stuck in there. The phone line that's in there doesn't work or something like that. because you would think, like, first question you'd have is like, come on, they built a panic room without a phone in it, you know? But it doesn't work. And they, you know, try to do some stuff, like there's a pipe and they try to signal a neighbor with a flashlight. They eventually get some, they eventually make a phone call to the police and to the, who was it, the dad?
Yes.
Yeah. And, you know, the criminals are trying to figure out how to get them out, like busting through the floor, the ceiling into the floor of the room and stuff like that. And to throw like more turmoil into the situation, the daughter, Kristen Stewart, is actually diabetic.
Right.
And she needs her insulin. So that becomes a problem. What else? I think that's good for the plot. I didn't really like this that much.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It felt a little contrived, honestly. I don't know. I just felt like, just from the beginning where it's like, oh, they just get this house with a panic room in it. And then, you know, the same night these criminals like break in, you know, it's, I don't know, $22 million. Like, why would that be in the house? But I don't know. It was okay. I don't know. The thriller aspect of it didn't really work for me. What's the actor's name? Black
Jared
actor.
Leto. Oh, never mind.
Forrest Whitaker. He's in it. And I usually like him. He's pretty cool guy. So yeah, it was all right. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it or anything like that. I thought it was good. I was gonna say something about it. What the hell was I gonna say about it? There's a scene with like they pump gas into the room and stuff and they light it on fire. Doesn't really look the best. I don't know. I thought I would like this one more. It kind of missed the mark for me a little bit.
Alright, dude, what do you rate it then?
I gave it a 7, which isn't a bad rating at all.
I feel like you just want me to lose, so you're gonna pretend that all these movies are bad.
No. I actually, you know, I loved The Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Right.
Gave it a 9. I lost.
Well,
my
whatever.
pen,
I mean,
I lost my pen.
what do you want me to do about it? I am not there to help. Panic Room was just one that I grew up watching. It was like a thriller that I always really enjoyed. I could see your criticisms though. I can understand not really being a huge fan of how like convenient some of this stuff is, but I don't know. I've always found it very easy to watch, I guess. Did you find your pen?
Yeah, you know what sucks about our 10 days that we have left is like 4 of them were spent on the road.
Wait, what?
Like, we're not gonna be home.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. I thought about that already.
Yeah, I have my pen. So yeah, with that said, let's go ahead and pick your blind spot for the next week.
Oh,
Which
boy.
we might actually not do a show next week.
Yeah, we might not have the opportunity.
Right. So it would probably be like the week after.
Right.
Your next one was Batman Returns, but as we said, that one takes place on like Christmas, so we're not going to do that one yet.
Alright.
So again,
So I don't get a watch, yes.
So it's actually Rocky.
Oh man.
So Rocky, buddy. Rocky. Sylvester Stallone. Joe Spinell's in it.
Okay, great, dude. That doesn't make it horror.
It's not
I just feel
horror.
like it's good. Is it gonna be? I feel like this movie's like 4 hours long.
I want to say that it's 90 minutes,
Oh, okay.
but I could be wrong.
I don't know, little guy. I might not like it, but I shall watch it.
Yeah.
I shall.
Well, I hope you like it. Oh.
What, buddy?
It's 2.5 hours.
No! How would you? I want to say it's 90 minutes. Yeah, right. You didn't want to say that. Dude! don't have time for this right now. Oh. All right. I mean, all right. I shall do it.
You're not using your skip?
I just feel like I should skip New Country for the Old Men.
You're not skipping that one. You're not. I have an anti-skip.
I'm trying to, let me see the list. I didn't skip anything already, No, I didn't. No,
you'll have a week and you'll probably have a week and a half to do it because we're not doing a show this week.
Yeah, I shall watch it. It's fine.
Okay. All right. So, with that said, let's go into our featured review, and this is of The New Mutants. So what is a synopsis for The New Mutants?
The New Mutants. It says, Magic, Wolfsbane, and other teenage mutants try to come to grips with their superpowers while staying at a secret facility.
Yeah, so we'll stay spoiler free on this one. We were supposed to have Jeremy on again, but unfortunately I kind of didn't give a time for the podcast because I don't know what time I'm gonna wake up. And as time went on, I was like, well, I better record the show now or else I'm not going to get up till 11 p.m. And I know that's too late for you guys. So I decided that we would do it now. Jeremy was busy now, so it wasn't going to work for him.
Yes. But yeah, so New Mutants, I mean, basically, it opens up with this girl. She's with her dad, and a bunch of stuff kind of goes down, and she's you just see her running through the woods, and then the next thing you know, she wakes up in this sort of hospital looking setting, and she's really confused. This woman comes in and says, tries to explain things to her, and says she's the last survivor of this thing that happened to her, and that she's there because she has these special abilities, and that she'll be able to leave once those special abilities are well controlled and figured out. The girl is then introduced to, I believe, 4 other people who are in that facility for the same thing, where they essentially have these superpowers, and some of them kind of rude, a little rude towards her, but then some of them are friendly towards her,
really
and then
they're one that's rude towards her.
Yeah, I mean, the one guy's kind of rude at first too, but then everyone's kind of yeah, he makes some stupid comment, I believe, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, I
don't think so.
Yeah, he makes a comment when she walks into the room at first.
Yeah, I think he's just joking.
No, I think he's being very rude, and I would be very offended and sad. Anyway, okay, whatever. So, yeah, that's the movie. They basically are all just in this facility together, and they're a little sketched out. They don't know if they can really trust the lady running the place. There's only one woman there that sort of is their doctor, and the person doing experiments on them, and they're just trying to figure out why they're there and how they're gonna, get through things and be able to leave there. So, what did you think?
Well, I mean, that's not all that's going on. I mean, it's so basically the girl develops sort of a relationship with the other girl there, which it was funny because I called it so far ahead of time. It was so weird.
Yeah, me too.
No, I did way ahead of time. I was like, I think this is gonna go in a lesbian territory.
I think you just thought that because the other girl had short hair, and people think that means you're a lesbian.
Well,
that's what I think.
Wonder why. But you had short hair once.
Yes, I did, and people just thought I was a boy.
So yeah, but also as she's trying to figure out why she's there, everybody there is having nightmares of their past traumas. So it kind of has this nightmare dream quality to it, which honestly, in hindsight, I think they could have played that up even more.
They could have.
I think what I liked about this movie, and I've seen a lot of negativity towards this film. I think what I liked about it is that I actually enjoyed the romantic relationship between the lead and the other girl, Rain. I actually really like that, and I like the aesthetic to the building. It's very like old looking. It reminds you of like an old rundown mental hospital, and something about them being like isolated and by themselves was like creepy. The I will be honest, like the effects are a bit rough. Like it's primarily CG. And it is a little bit, it's not the worst I've ever seen. It's just you see a lot of new movies utilize this type of thing for their monsters. But I actually thought the Smiley Man was pretty creepy. It kind of touches on the backstories of each of the characters, and I thought they were cool. I thought the Anna Taylor-Joy's character, basically you get the sense that she was sex trafficked as a child, which is horrifying, and I thought they did really well with that, and it made you feel bad for her and understand why she's so aggressive towards the outside world. She has a wall up, but also you could tell that she just needs to be loved, and I dig that. And then of course the other characters all have their own problems. It's sort of metaphorical for being an outcast, you know what I mean? The one, and to the extreme, I guess, because like being a mutant, I mean, and X-Men has always been that's always been X-Men, minorities and LGBTQ people and things like that. X-Men has always been an allegory for that sort of social, being against the social norms and stuff like that, way back from when X-Men first started, so it makes sense, and I've always liked that about the X-Men. That's why X-Men, or like, I don't really love comic book movies, but I've always kind of dug the X-Men, because I really like that social aspect to them. They're and even all the way up to like examples of like Jews, and Nazis and stuff like that, and being persecuted for how you were born or what you were born into. That's kind of what, and people were afraid, they would fearmonger and stuff like that. So I've always dug that about X-Men, and I think it fits with this. You have each of them have sort of their own tragic backstory, a reason why they're there, and then you get the sense that our lead is like very powerful. Like, yes, her power is really powerful, whatever it is, and they're trying to figure out what it is. But what did you like or dislike, or what did you think?
I mean, I liked it. I've seen pretty much everyone's kind of coming down on it. I'm even looking at Letterboxd, and like there's not that many reviews, but everyone is pretty much negative. But I enjoyed it. I mean, I went in with no real expectations. For one, it's been put off for so long, and then two, I wasn't I know you were super hype at the beginning, like 10 years ago when this was supposed to come out.
Yeah, it was delayed like 2 years. I think it was supposed to come out in 2018. And I don't know if there's a longer cut or an R-rated cut that exists. I heard so many different things. I heard that initially it was not enough of a horror film, so they reshot scenes to make it more of a horror film. And then I've also heard the opposite, where it was too much of a horror film and they reshot scenes to make it less of a horror film. I don't know which one is true. I don't know which one actually was the real story. I know that Fox delayed it a bunch, and then the Disney buying Fox like delayed it even more, and I thought they were going to push it back a whole nother year again. They kind of dropped it. It made $7 million at the box office, which I think is pretty okay for theaters being shut down. So I'd consider it a mild success. I mean, I don't know what the budget was. It's probably a lot bigger than that, but I'm sure it'll do well on streaming too. So hopefully it makes its money back. but I'm very curious to know like what happened with the production, if there's another cut of the movie.
It does feel very much like there should have been more to it. That's the only thing for me is, after watching it, I really dug it, and then I kind of thought about it days later, and I could see why people are disappointed, despite the fact that, you know, they should have probably went in with low expectations. It's like, it really just kind of flies by, and you know, you have this small group of characters, and which I don't have. I like that. I like that it was a small cast. I always enjoy movies like that. I think it had decent development with all of them for what you get. Movie runs like an hour and 40 minutes. I was expecting it to be longer than that, but I enjoyed it. Like, I thought every character was good. I thought all the acting was good, especially like Anya Taylor-Joy. She's doing, I think that's a Russian accent that she has.
Sounded Russian.
Yeah, and she's very good with that. And the other characters are solid too.
And I have like
I also
the biggest crush on her.
I know you do, buddy. I enjoyed the relationship between the sort of lesbian thing going on with the two girls.
Yeah.
I said, like, after watching this, it feels very much like all about the three girls, and then the two boys, all they really do is run around and don't do much of any, like, they don't really contribute much, especially towards the end. It just seems like they're running scared, and it kind of became like a girl power type of film, which was interesting, but
no, they have their moments.
But like, I just find them a little forgettable in a way. But I mean, I liked it. I thought the CG didn't actually bother me too much in this movie, and typically that does bother me quite a bit. Like, a lot of times I can't get past it, but I think they made it creepy. Like, the Smiley character was super terrifying. You know, you kind of get this big creature at the end even that didn't bother me too much, though. It's because it's not too overdone in my opinion, and the Smiley character being creepy was good, because a lot of times when a horror movie type of thing does a CG thing, it's not effective for me because I know it's obviously fake. But
well, it helps that they're also, you know, supernatural and it's a dream thing. So
yeah.
That always kind of helps with the CG a little bit, because it's something that you create in your mind, and it's not something that's like actual real that it's trying to mimic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of leads to be a little like, if it's a little more glossy and stuff, it's okay because it's made up in your head, you know. So I kind of think of that type of stuff. The thing that I'm seeing, the biggest complaint about this movie that I'm saying, I haven't looked at much, is like, people are saying like, worst X-Men movie ever. I'm like, dude, who cares?
Yeah,
it's not. It's like, it's an X-Men movie, but it's not at the same time. It's not like the same as those. Like, this is trying to be a horror film, so it's like, you know,
or people are like, it's the worst comic book movie ever or something.
And I'm like, it's not that much of a comic book movie either. Like, yeah, it like, at the same time, like, people, like, I saw that they were saying like the one-liners are like bad or whatever, and I'm like, well, that's like sort of the comic book part right there, is like, you do have one-liners and things like that happen in comic books. So you know, that's kind of where the comic book sheds in. But the only other comic book or superhero thing that is there is that they have powers.
Yeah.
And I'm like I don't know. It's like, I didn't watch this movie and like look at it and judge it like it was an X-Men movie. You know what I mean? I didn't, like, I've seen, you know, most of the X-Men movies, and I didn't go into this thinking that I was gonna see that.
Yeah, and you shouldn't. I mean, I haven't seen the X-Men movies, so that also helps me because I have no idea what that's even all about. So going into this, I just viewed it as a movie, knowing that it was kind of superhero comic book based, but knowing also it was supposed to be horrific, and I felt like I got what I wanted. I feel like it was an easy watch. That's the best way to describe it, is it kind of, you could sit back and easily watch this, know everything that's going on. There's not a whole lot to it. And the only thing is that there really isn't a whole lot to it. I could see wanting more. That's kind of the only big critique I have, where you kind of leave feeling like you're missing something.
Right,
or you wanted more detail.
I could have used another like 20 or 30 minutes of this movie, honestly.
Yeah.
I had fun the entire time. I was never bored. I never wanted it to end. I was never waiting for it to end. I will admit, I went in with pretty low expectations because I just expected, with that many delays and that much production problems and being PG-13, that it just wasn't going to be much. So maybe having those low expectations helped me my enjoyability. I mean, I was hyped for it because of how it was described, which was like Dream Warriors, you know. So, but that hype died down when I kept seeing it get delayed and stuff, and I was just hoping that it was okay. But it ended up being more than okay for me. I actually really enjoyed it. I thought about it for a few days after, and I was like, yeah, I really liked that movie. It was fun. It was not amazing. I'm not saying that it's amazing or even great. It was good. And yeah, so with that said, let's go ahead and jump into our Letterboxd reviews, which we forgot last week.
Yeah, we did.
But this one is coming from Colin Andrews. And his favorite movies are Celia, The Spades, The Vast of Night, First Cow, and Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, which I've never heard of any of those. And it's the negative review. And he says, seriously, the leniency you are all giving these films is ridiculous. This is the worst Marvel movie I've ever seen, and I can't stand any of them generally. Oh, okay. The acting, the effects, the casual racism, everything is just abysmal. Tragic. What casual racism?
I saw 2 on here that said that, and I think, is there a comment about the girl being Indian?
Oh, get the fuck over yourself, dude. Come on.
Yeah,
man.
That's what they're talking about, because I was confused at first too.
Get out of here with that.
Ridiculous. I don't even remember what's said about her. Like, it's so stupid. But
wow, there's like a lot of comments on this, on his review. Okay. And the positive one here is from Logan, and Logan, his favorite movies are Piranha, The Bride of Frankenstein, The New Mutants, and Swamp Thing. He must have just updated that. Yeah. And that's the Piranha remake. Oh, dude, Swamp Thing? Seriously? That movie sucks. Okay. So he says, no spoilers. So I just watched this, and y'all know I'm a huge X-Men fan, and that I was waiting for this one, and it wasn't as amazing as I thought it would be. I did like it a lot, actually. It's just I'm annoyed. They had 3 years to make it perfect, and they didn't even touch it. There's so much you could have done with this. As a comic book fan, I'm not gonna talk about that because the review would be endless, but I just expected more, especially with the horror elements. They didn't go far with them. Dude, this is not a positive review. This movie might scare your girlfriend on Friday night. I just sigh. 3 years for this? Come on, man. He gave it a 7 out of 10.
That's funny.
I should have pre-read that.
Well, I was trying to read through these too, and it seemed like every one was bad, so...
Yeah, that was the only... Okay, here's another one. 4.5. Wait, it's the same guy. It's the same guy with another review. 2.5 stars for... 2.5 stars for... Ileana Rasputin's sword being as big as her strap, which makes it comic accurate. 2 stars for Danny Moonstar trolling everyone in this movie with her horror illusions without even knowing. Dude, come on.
I was gonna say, I like this 1-star review that says, my friend coughed at the theater and those few seconds were more tense and cinematic than anything this film has to offer.
These people are rude.
I know.
We might be the only people that like this thing, dude. They're all 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple 6s, but there's not.
How do these people get so popular on here? Like, that Logan guy has like 146 likes.
Okay, this guy. There we go. For a film that's been delayed for what it feels like eternity, this surprised the hell out of me. Great chemistry between everyone in the cast. 100% agree with that, buddy. And finally, LGBT protagonists in a comic book movie. CGI is a little bit dodgy, and it could have gone further with the psychological horror elements, but as it stands, it's a very pleasant little experience. Express how your own demons can have a negative effect on people around you, around us too, is an effective manner. No one's alone, and it's okay to reach out for help. Anna Taylor-Joy is amazing. She has such a bright career ahead of her. Yeah, I agree. Anna Taylor-Joy stole the show.
Yeah.
She wasn't the lead, but she stole the show.
Yes.
And I'm gonna marry that girl.
No, buddy.
Why?
How old is she?
Probably my age, I would assume.
I'm going to see how old she is real quick, because I feel like you're a pig. So let's just see. She's 24.
Okay, so my age.
Dude, that's like my age almost.
Okay, well, she shall be my wife. Her name shall be Anna Taylor Rodriguez.
No, it shall not.
Yes. We shall have little Anna Taylor piglets. J piglets.
Shut up, dude. Hear them. I
Hear
am an
them
Anya
squeal.
Taylor piglet. Hear me squeal. Her name's actually Anya Taylor-Joy. I thought that was like a made up. Her last name's actually Taylor-Joy.
Yeah.
Huh.
Taylor Joy Rodriguez.
No, buddy.
Why not?
Because it's not your last. Like, who's she marrying?
Well, that is
Because
my
it's
last
not-
name, but...
No, it's not.
What do you mean, no, it's not?
It's not.
Yes, it is.
It's Patrice.
It's not Patrice. That's my middle name.
No, buddy.
All right, that's it. We forgot letterbox reviews last week, and you didn't even remind me.
I forgot because we had Jeremy on, so I got I forget when we have a guest sometimes because we're all talking.
There is a gnat flying in here, and it's driving me crazy.
Did we rate this movie?
No.
All right, let's do that.
I gave it a 7.25 out of 10.
Get out of here, bro. You're not starting that.
No, I gave it a 7.5, but I'm hovering. I'm like between a 7 and a 7.5. I haven't finalized it yet, but you know what? F the haters. 7.5.
All right, well, you say that boldly, but I gave it an 8 out of 10. So
Good job, buddy. I'm proud of you.
thanks. I honestly didn't expect this many people to hate on it like they are.
Yeah, I walked out thinking like, people are gonna like this.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, for me, like when everybody, like, if there's a movie that I like and everybody hates it, it makes me like it more.
Yeah.
It makes me want to champion it at least.
Yeah. I like when I see a movie before anyone else, and then because I don't see everyone else's opinion, and then I'm like surprised if they hate it or like it, and I had the opposite opinion.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's the end of this show. Thank you guys for checking it out. Again, check us out on Dark Discussions. Follow the feed. I'm JP. That is Carly. We will see you guys next time. We don't know what we're doing yet, but we might just do a recap of our event because that will be quite lengthy. So maybe the next episode will just be that. So we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.